This is Tim from Garden Hands. Today it's a Monday and we didn't harvest cucumbers till this afternoon, which is probably what we shouldn't be doing. But anyway, we didn't harvest Sunday, Saturday. We did on Friday, right? This is Friday. We did on Friday, so we skipped 2 days. We had a lot of rain on Saturday evening, and all through the week, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we've had like 3 inches of rain. So we didn't harvest. And I thought we would have just been flooded with cucumbers, but these are the biggest ones, which are bigger than we'd like. I'd rather have more this size that are 2-3 inches. They make such good pickles, it seems like, if you can leave them whole. For our dill pickling, and this is what we like. But we've got a fair number of these, so we'll slice them lengthwise and make pickles of those too. We've got, I don't know if I can see one in here now, cucumber beetles coming in again, so we're going to pick as many as we can down to we'll even pick something that's this small probably today. And then I'll dust them with a little bit of dust to get rid of those cucumber beetles. I'll dust them, or we've done it one other time, I'll dust them late in the evening after the bees have been gone that are pollinating for us. So I'll rinse that off early in the morning, and then we kind of try to minimize the amount of exposure that the bees would have to a dust. We want to keep those around, but we want to get rid of these cucumber beetles. We've got a fair amount. Plants that are wilting all the way up to the top, or from the top all the way down to the bottom, and I kind of hope it's these cucumber beetles that are doing that so that we can get rid of that beetle. If we get a week of good production out of these, we'll have enough anyway for our pickles. If we make, I think our goal was 75 quarts this year, something like that, for 2 or 3 families. I think we have 30 quarts right now, so if we get 3 more average days, we'll have enough. But if we get a little more, we'll still keep doing it. Without further ado, Jody's almost up to me, so if I keep talking, she'll get those picked and I won't have to. No, we'll get picking here and we'll get ours done. And then we got Emma helping today too, our super pickle picker. Right, Emma?
Yeah.
Emma's shy. So here's our dill. We grew it in a little tub. I think we started it a little bit late, and we didn't have very good germination because all we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants, and we had 4 rows across this on this end. But the plants that are coming are doing well. So next year we'll do a little bit better. So we're going to get some of that cut for making pickles here. We have a place down the road where we can go down and purchase some or get some from a neighbor. So we'll do that for the rest of them. We try to load the jars up. This is maybe enough for 1 jar right here, or what we do for a jar. And you'll see when we go in the house. Otherwise, it's coming. It'll probably come on pretty strong this week when we get some heat now. Probably have a good run, and by the end of that, like we said, maybe we'll be done with pickles, so it'll work out okay. Smells good. These are a little bit immature, but they'll mature a little bit as we use it or as it gets put in the jar.
There's one on the end.
Kidding, I don't know what it does. We brought our pickles into the house. We got half a bucket full, give or take. And probably half of them in here are the size that we can use whole. And half of them we'll have to slice up and make into slicers. So these make very good pickles. These are great, or great size for us for what we do. We'll get these into the sink. And the way that we do it is we, when I run the water on them, so I'll grab 3 or 4 of these. We scrub them together or roll them together kind of. Get them lined up. They kind of roll a little bit in your hand, and then that gets a little, I don't know what you call that part. So ask my technical advisor, what do you call that part? Little prickly things? Kids call them the pickers. I don't know what we... Anyway, that gets that off them, and then I'll try and get the blossoms off the end. If there's a blossom left on, we'll grab those before they make any more of a mess. And we'll kind of sort them to size. We'll run through all the small ones first and get those put into a couple of containers to see what we have, the amount we have, so we know how many jars to get ready. So the bigger ones like this size, these will probably be quartered. These seem to come, the prickly part on them, there's just got to be a name for it. We'll figure that out. That seems to clean off easy, or I don't have trouble doing it. The little ones, they're a lot stiffer, and you can do them one at a time too, but if you rub 3 or 4 together, they come pretty clean. So as you may know, what's it been? This coming Thursday, so it's been 3.5 weeks since I had my shoulder surgery, and that's been going really good. So I'm wearing my sling today. I got my transparent one on right now. Otherwise, that black thing that I wear is so heavy, or not heavy, but it's hot. So I kind of take it off and try not to do too much of this arm, but I suppose I'm doing more than I should. We've gone to the physical therapy twice now, and that's gone really good. And the doctor said it, or the physical therapist said that it looks like we have a real good range of motion. So that part's going good. In 3 more months, I should be back to being able to do kind of whatever I want, as long as I don't stress it too much. So anyway, enough of me. Back to the pickles. So Jody and Emma are off getting some more dill from a neighbor. Lindsay and I will get these cleaned up, and then we'll start slicing the blossom end of them. Lindsay's got these all cut, the ends cut off of them, and this will make about almost 3 jars of pickles, I think, of ones that we do not have to cut or slice. So we'll put these into a container for now, and then we'll take out the ones that we're going to slice and have those all clean and ready, and we'll slice those lengthwise as we fill our jars, so we get about the right amount. And if we get all done and one like this is left, that one can go back to the compost pile, and some of these we'll use for salad for eating, and the rest of them maybe we'll make another batch of refrigerator pickles. These are a nice size for that. So for our brine, we use 4 cups of water, 4 cups of vinegar, a 1/2 cup of sugar, and 1/3 cup of pickling salt. And then we do a double batch. And that's enough to make up about 7 jars, which is a canner full. And then we might have a little bit left over, and then if we have some left over, we put that in a quart jar and put it in the fridge and use it the next time. Okay, so we'll put the rest of this on top when we get done with putting the pickles in. Okay, now you can use, we need a 1/2 teaspoon of peppercorns, about, for each jar.
Okay, okay.
Then we need a 1/4 teaspoon of those. Oh, you need these too, Emma. Grandma's doing those. You need 1 of those in each jar.
1, 2, 3.
Can it go?
5, 6, 7, 5, 6.
And then put that one in a jar too.
7.
Then this can go in another jar separate. There you go. Then the rest of these all go in. But so let's put some of these the bigger ones into a jar. And we'll make a jar that's got a bunch of little ones to it too. So put all these into a jar. Then we'll get a bunch of little ones and try and fill a jar up with little ones after that. If you tumble the jar sometimes like this, to get them all lined up so they're all standing up as best you can. You want to get them in really tight. So now let's do another one like that. That'll work. And they have to stay kind of below this ring here, right in there. So now we're going to have to go to little ones or cut up a big one. Okay, are we happy with that jar?
Yep.
So you want to do another jar? Atta girl.
So will we be able to eat these?
You bet. Well, you have to wait 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
But we've got some jars that we made over a week ago. So by the end of the week, you might be able to open up the jar you took home the other day. What do you think of that?
Sounds delicious. I'm getting pickle impatient.
You're getting pickly impatient?
Pickly impatient.
So now you can put in 1/4 teaspoon of dill, or crisp. That stuff there. And then they'll be ready to go
Yeah.
to get
the
stuff.
tiny mothballs.
Yep, that's about what it does.
One of them?
One. I think we're going to be able to call you the professional pickle packer.
No, you already did those questions.
Wow, Emma.
There.
Good job. Give me a high five. Okay, that's all that goes in. Now we're going to put the brine in, and that's super hot, so we'll put that in over here, I think. Next step, our brine has been, we made it, we stirred it as it was going, brought it to a boil, and that's done. Our big pot for canning is boiling, so that's ready to go. Our covers are just starting to, just getting warmed up real good. They're just about to a boil, which is more than we need them to be. So we're going to transfer the brine into the jars. And I believe we're supposed to fill that to within 1/2 inch of the top. We're doing 7 jars, which is the size of the canner or the cooker. And that takes about a batch, or 1 3/4 of that. So 1, and then we make 2 batches, we double it, make 2 batches, we'll have a little bit left over. And what we have left over, we put back in the refrigerator into a jar. So we save that, and then we just add it to the next batch that we make. So I got these done, and our covers are hot. So I use a cloth, dip that in the hot water, put your finger right down to the bottom to make sure it's hot. Take a cover out that corresponds with the size of your jar. Make sure the dill, we put dill on top, you want to make sure that that's covered up. Doesn't, like this one has a little piece sticking out of the edge. Make sure it's all inside there. Put a ring on top. No, don't crank them down tight, because you'll get yelled at for that. So what we want to do when we put that lid seal on is, they said, just finger tight. And then when your wife leaves, you crank them right down. So this is a small lid here. We had 1 small lid. Get the top cleaned. When you're doing it with your rag, you want to be careful that in case you have a cracked one, you don't cut your finger, but you also want to be feeling to make sure you don't have a crack. So kind of look at them, and we always do that before we put them in the dishwasher. We'll look at them, and you can run your finger around them at that time just lightly to make sure you don't have a crack. So obviously you wouldn't want to use a jar that's got a crack. I think last year we had 1 jar that broke on us right when we set it into the pot that was boiling, and that makes a mess. You have to take that out, clean it out, start all over again. And that's all you want to put in, that amount right there. Make sure your lids are centered when you put the ring on. Sometimes I'll try and just hold on it just so daintily. The lids all have a little dimple that sticks up, and when you get done, after you've taken them out of here and put them on your towel to cool off, they'll pop. Probably between 5 and 15 minutes you'll hear a little ping, and that lid will go down, so it'll be concaved when it's done. If it doesn't go down, we had one last time that didn't, and we just put it in the refrigerator and we'll use those right away. But that means it didn't seal. It might have had some dirt on it and didn't seal. It might have been a poor lid. There's probably a couple reasons. I might not have tightened it enough. So the recipe for these pickles is called the best dill pickles ever. We've used this for 3 years and been very happy with it. Coincidentally, the gentleman that gave us the recipe is the same guy that built our syrup shack, and we'll put the recipe, we'll post that on we'll get it on this video so we can share what we think is a good recipe, and you can tell us if it is or isn't. Either way, it's good for us. And if you've got some better additions to it, we'd love to try some more recipes with pickles. The pan that we heat our lids in, generally we'll put a little extra, we'll have plenty of water in there. So if you need water to add, if you don't get an inch of cover on your jars once you put them in, then we've already got some water heated up, so we don't have to put cold water in to make up water. Kind of helps save a little bit. As you're putting these in, I didn't do that one, but just give them a check, make sure they're tight. Our canner holds 7 quarts or 7 pints, 8 pints I guess it is on the right jars. When you're putting them in, we always try and load it evenly so that you don't load one side and have it tip or fall into the pan or something like that. And you want to be careful when you're putting them in so you don't drop a jar. We haven't broken any yet so far, so that's kind of nice. When you break a jar, then you have to start all over with that batch, or heating it, get the glass out and let it down in there gently. Check the water depth. No, just kidding. Don't check the water depth. Do it visually or do it with your tool that you use. And we set our timer for 10 minutes on our quarts. And then wait for 10 minutes and pull them out. There's a handle. You buy a little kit at your local store. You could at a hardware store, Menards, Fleet Farm, whatever. And you get a little magnet to pull your lids out with, and you get this handle. Doing quarts, it seems like it's probably a better idea, although somebody's not doing that right here because he's kind of burly and strong. But if you use 2 hands on it, just to make sure that jar doesn't slip and make a kind of a disaster out of it. So you get them all out and set them, and don't set them right next to each other, leave a space in them. This year we changed how we did our pickles. We had been covering them other years and leaving them cool down real slow. This year we kind of thought that maybe it's smarter to uncover or not cover them and let them cool down at room temperature, but a little bit quicker so that they don't keep heating, because essentially you're kind of heating them for a longer time, and maybe that made them a little bit softer than they need to be even, or not as crisp. That's it for making a batch of pickles. And the one important thing, I think we said it, but if we didn't, if you could harvest them in the morning before your vegetable gets warm, and then try and run them through your process right away. Don't leave them sit overnight or something like that. That's one of the key things, I think, to making your canning turn out, as with anything you can. If it sits around and it just doesn't have a good a taste or as fresh a taste. Thanks again for watching. We really appreciate all the people that watch, and if you've got a comment or some way that we can do it better, we'd love to hear that, and please hit the subscribe button. Thanks again for watching.